Hello, everybody. It's Mrs. Conrad here. And today, what I want to do is I want to go over our informational explanatory writing rubric. So, what's up with this rubric? Because this is how your essay will be graded. So, first of all, it's worth 20 points. This first category, purpose, focus, and organization, is worth 8 points. So, if you achieve mastery here, you would get 8 if you were proficient, 6, developing 4, and incomplete 2. In the next category, evidence and elaboration, we also have 8 points. 8, 6, 4, 2. In our last category, conventions, we have 4 points, 4 and 2. So I'm going to go through and show you exactly how you'll be graded. And that way you can make any changes that you need to make your essay the best essay it's going to be. So the first category, purpose, focus, and organization. First, to achieve mastery, it says your response must be fully sustained and focused within the purpose, audience, and task. So if I look over at our prompt, the prompt is to write a multi-paragraph response in which you analyze how both authors, Turner and Rovner, express the idea that humans and animals benefit from each other. So multi-paragraph, we know we're going to have an introduction, 2 body paragraphs, and a conclusion. Your job is to analyze and tell how the authors express this idea. And you can only use information from the passages. So if you stick to that prompt and stay focused and write your 4 paragraphs, that's going to help you become either proficient or mastery. The next category says that you need a clear and strongly maintained thesis statement with little or no loosely related material. So, ladies and gentlemen, in your outline, we know our thesis is the last sentence of the introductory paragraph. It should be very clear. The thesis should always answer the prompt, and our thesis should direct the essay. And you shouldn't start talking about something that's not related to your thesis and how the authors portrayed this idea of humans and animals helping each other. So you don't want to start talking about your pet or how you love to cuddle with your pet on Friday nights after a long week at school, because that doesn't answer the prompt. So stick to the topic, have a clear thesis. You need logical progression of ideas with a satisfying introduction and conclusion. So you have to have an introduction. Your introduction should start with a hook. You should have a body paragraph or body paragraphs and a conclusion. All right. And it should make sense. All the ideas in your body paragraphs should be related to each other. Also, in this category of organization, we want to be sure that we use transitional strategies. Transitional strategies help make an essay easy to follow. I should not be reading your essay and saying, huh? What is this person writing about? I want you to use transitional strategies such as another example, or in the first passage, or similar to Pamela Turner. Lastly, we have a formal style and an objective tone. Uh-oh, Rojo's here wanting me to play Sharky with him. Sorry for the distraction. Anyway, formal style. A formal style we talked about today, you're not using slang. You aren't using, well, like in the essay, it says. You are not using contractions. You're not using first person. This is a third person essay where you are being an expert and showing how well you know these 2 passages. All right. So if you look over here, it says, if your thesis is confusing, that can really knock you down to the incomplete response. Or it's not clear where your body paragraphs are. Maybe you leave out your introduction. That could really hurt you. Few or no transitional strategies is incomplete. So we've been working on those. Let's make sure that you're using them. Moving on to evidence and elaboration. This is the second 8-point category. So the writing has to present relevant and convincing textual evidence with precise references to the source. So, ladies and gentlemen, what that means is you are picking relevant or important details. So if you look at your evidence and you say, you know what, that doesn't really show animals and humans helping each other. Maybe it's not that big of a deal that uh, Hachiko went back to Mr. Kobayashi's house. That's not the best example. Get rid of it and find another example. Precise reference. When you reference a source, that simply means you're writing where it's coming from. So, in Hachiko, the true story of a loyal dog, or according to Julie Rovner, those are references to sources. Writing must effectively connect and explain how the evidence supports the thesis. And this, boys and girls, means you need to show an understanding of the text. When I'm reading your essay, I have to get the feeling that you knew what the authors were talking about. So that's important, and that's part of earning mastery in evidence and elaboration. We talked about domain specific vocabulary, using words that are appropriate for the purpose, maybe oxytocin, maybe loyalty, something that is related to these pieces of text. Clear and precise language. Okay, so this is important. You're not going to overuse pronouns such as he. You're going to tell me, who is he? Is he Dr. Ueno? Is he Hachiko? Is he Mr. Kobayashi? Is he Kentaro, the boy? Or is it the train station? Which train station? Do you remember the name of it? You can find that in the title. Or an inn. What inn was it? Go back to pet therapy and look that up. That shows effort. Those are important pieces in earning mastery. Finally, in evidence, we want to see you using varied sentence structure. So this means your sentences are not all starting in the same way. Before the break, and when we were looking at our last mentor sentence, we watched some Ian videos and we talked about the fact that you can vary sentence structures. You can start with a reason. Because it was her birthday, Grace received a birthday locker badge. It's okay to start with because if that's the reason and it's connected to the rest of the sentence. We talked about starting with similes. Like an oyster in its shell, the boy sat quite alone. If a simile is going to demonstrate your point, then it might work well. We talked about starting with nouns or pronouns. Trust me, you're all going to be starting with nouns or pronouns. Every time you start with Kentaro or Hachiko, you're starting with a noun. Starting with an adverb. That's what we did with our Menor sentence. Angrily, Scrooge stomped down the stairs. Finally, the bells chimed twice. And those are the last way is to start with an adjective. Adjectives are describing words, words that describe nouns. The cold-hearted, stingy miser refused to give money to the poor. 11 children sang in the choir. How many children? 11. What kind of miser? Cold-hearted and stingy. Now, finally, ladies and gentlemen, I want to show you our word of the day. Smithereens. Singing Santa was smashed to smithereens over the holidays. When Michael and Rojo were playing ball in the house, they knocked it over. 2 hours later, we had cleaned up all the tiny pieces of Santa. So, friends, what in the world does smithereens mean?